Well, hi guys and gals, it's me George, the Shade Tree Fix-It Man. And it's a beautiful day here in Minnesota. We have 38 degrees going on right now. Look at what's happening, the ice is melting off the driveway. Oh yeah, gotta love it. We got a little bit of snow the other day, not much, probably about an inch. And you can see what I've plowed up over the last few times. But yeah, it's a beautiful day. I'm not even going to need to turn the heater on in the garage. It's that warm. But can you weep with me? By the time you see this video, you will have seen the first part already. And I'm out here to fix my boo-boo. Oh yeah, I had to taking this apart. We're going to do it in the vise this time. And let me get the lights turned on and get things set up, and I'll bring you along to repair my goof. Oh, well, you wonder what the goof, well, you saw what the goof was. Yeah, and I saw it when I was picking up my tools after assembling this together. This thrust washer was laying down here on the towel. So we got to take this apart. It goes on this side, and I saw that and I thought, well, surely I didn't drop it by mistake, but when I started editing the video, I saw it. It dropped right off, landed down there, but I was watching where I was oiling. Well, let me get set up and we'll take care of this pretty quickly and get on to something else. Okay, so here is our critical unit, and I'm going to set that right there. Don't you forget where I put it now. It's right down here on the back of the vise. And we're going to zip this off, and we'll just lift this top off, and I should be able to set the thrust washer down in there. And I think while I have it apart like this, it'll be a perfect opportunity for me to put some oil in there. And we're going to use a little bit of this STP. And just a little bit. We don't need a lot of it. So let's zip this apart. I can keep my hands steady enough here. Get my Allen wrench in there. And I have scored these bolts where they need to be cut off. And it did. So I just created myself another problem. George. Oh well. I didn't score all of them. Okay. Now the question is, can I get it apart? Without messing up my paint job. If I tighten down my vise so it's not swinging around on me. Time to clean the bench off again. Be like Mr. Heavy Chevy. want to get this off without destroying my gasket either. Some of it's sticking with the top and some of it's sticking with the bottom. We'll get it all to stick with the bottom. And there we have it. Didn't all come apart in one piece for sure. And this is where this thrust washer goes, right there. Just like that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pour a little bit of this STP down in here. And it's pretty thick today, I'm sure. And we don't need a lot of it in there. As I had said yesterday when we were doing the initial reassembly, don't need a lot, just enough so that it'll pick it up and turn with it. Reminds me of that ketchup commercial they had many years ago. Anticipation. Yeah, something like that anyway. Well, we'll accept that as being enough. I don't know what enough would have to look like, but as long as there's some kind of lubrication in there. Alright, so you know about how it goes back together. So I won't bore you with that part of it. I'll reassemble it and I'll show it to you when I have it all back together with the bolts shortened down so that they're much more appropriate. Well, there we are, all back together, and I've got all these bolts cut down. Of course, this is where my stabilizer bracket bolts in. I left one of them long because I'm thinking of adding another stabilizer bracket once we do the final mounting. And I was going through my chrome drawer, and look at this. This will tap right down on there. I'm not going to put it on there now, but once we get this mounted and our pillow block will mount down in here and leave a space at the end, and we'll just tap this on there at the end, and that'll take care of our end here, which had a bolt. Yeah, that's where the shear bolt went through the auger shaft. Well, yeah, that'll finish off that end. So it's ready to go back in the house now and get put back together. I'll put the pillow blocks back in place. They're just setting there. They're not mounted permanently. And we'll put our sleeve back on down here. Let me back you out. Put our sleeve back on here and the steering wheel on the end and all of that good stuff. So that fixes that mistake that George made, and I'm sure it's the first of many, and this is part of the problem of taking things apart, putting them back together, and having them apart for a long time. And if I had remembered when I had this apart before, I had mounted this shaft in the vise like this, without the towel, of course. And then it was very easy to set this gear in place and drop this one in place without having to finagle and fight like I did on the bench. Nice idea to work on the bench, but it's not always the best solution. So until next time, this is George, the Shade Tree Fix-It Man, saying you can fix your mistakes too, just like I can. Bye now. Oh, word of wisdom for the day. You know what the difference is between an amateur and a professional? A professional knows how to cover his mistakes.